Hey folks, welcome back to HeartGold vs. Crystal. We are here in the transition between Ilex Forest and Route 34, and here we get a TM. As usual, it varies between the two versions. In this one, it's Taunt, which prevents people from doing anything but attack, which can be useful in certain situations. In the original, it's Sweet Scent, which will automatically force a Pokemon to come to you in the field and has some battle effect that I don't care about. Anyway, this episode is all about Route 34, because there was a noticeable lack of conflict and battle in the previous episode. So I'm going to show a fair bit more in this one. Starting off with Snubbull here. I like Snubbull. Snubble's another one of those dudes that I need to use at some point. He's your normal type, or this one's a she, I think. I don't know, I just never used one. I think it's a physical attacker. That's what I would guess, considering normal was originally physical. But it's actually, I found, kind of a jerk to get rid of in various video game instances in which I've run into it, because generally I don't run into it very often. And I don't have a fighting move. But look, that was a critical poison sting. That should have done, I don't know, a little more. I guess I can't be too crazy about it. But I really didn't want to deal with a paralyzed Sandshrew trying to deal with this guy. So, bring in Webster, hope to poison him. Of course, it takes several hits until it's basically not useful. But that's just the way of life, I think. But whatever, I'm including this fight mostly just so you can see a Snubbull, because Snubballs are pretty cool. Look at how cool he is. She is pink and other manly colors. It's pretty rad. And then he has like some other Pokemon that we've seen before and we don't care about. So, moving on. By the way, around this point in the game, my mother character starts calling a lot, and I'm not entirely sure what's up with that. I don't know how she's programmed, how often she's supposed to buy things for you, but you'll see she'll call several times during this route when she had not called for a long time before. I don't know. Anyway, this is a kid. He's a youngster. Look at this guy. This sideways cap. Anyway, he has a Mankey. Mankeys are a pretty neato, nifty, keen fighting Pokemon. A lot of the time, if I'm feeling lazy and I'm playing through Yellow, it's very useful for the first gym, but here it's not really what I'm into. Now, on the one hand, it was kind of a dumb move to bring a wounded Bree into a fight with a Mankey, but on the other hand, Bree is the most capable of taking care of him, other than Webster taking a really long time to take care of him, since Bree has extra sensory here. Of course, doesn't in Crystal, so that was probably Webster's line of work, or Sandra, basically anyone besides Bree. But here, extra sensory. Look at that, look at that, look at how good that was a critical, that was awesome. I wish I could have more moves and turns like that. And a Diglett. Diglett is a fun little guy. He's very fragile, but if you get caught in an unfavorable matchup against him, that can be bad, because very often he'll have the ability Arena Trap, which prevents you from switching out unless you have a Shed Shell or whatever the hold item is. He doesn't in this situation, luckily. I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but like I switched Sandra in and I was like, oh, that was probably a bad idea. But then it worked out. But don't take risks like that, that would be dumb. Anyway, it's very fragile, like I said, so Klaus can even one-shot him with a Bubble Beam, which is remarkable. Anyway, if you ever see a Diglett coming up your way, get out of the way. Don't try to do anything fancy, is the moral of the story here. Yeah, for whatever reason, I think there are a lot of, like, youngsters or students and schoolboys kind of in the area around Goldenrod. You'll see a bunch See, there's Mom calling again. What's up with that? You'll see a bunch of schoolboy people and whatnot north of Goldenrod as well. So, I don't know, it's weird, because the Pokemon Learning Academy is in Violet. That's where you learn about things. But here they are, a town over. Anyway, this girl, she, oh no, I've always been partial to her. Anyway, the fighting Crystal here is actually kind of interesting, mostly for how we deal with her third and final Pokemon. But she's one of the trainers who will give you her number, and she can actually be useful to get the number of. So I would recommend it. Anyway, I was feeling kind of complacent and bored with reusing Swift all the time, so I decided to make this into a more or less metronome match. At least to begin with, hoping to get a little more awesome luck, but, like, these first 2 turns didn't really give me much to hope for. Acid Armor is a great move, but, not amazing. So for the time being, I'm switching back to Swift, which, as you can see, is getting to be an actually pretty formidable move. Like, Hoppip isn't the most durable Pokemon in the world, admittedly, but it's nice to see bars move a little more than that, like an appreciable amount of damage compared to some really pathetic Poison Sting. Anyway, these Hoppip have Synthesis. I don't think they have attacking moves yet, actually. I should really remember when they learn attacking moves, but I don't remember. There's Flash and Synthesis, and that's all they appear to be using. Anyway, Hoppip are pretty cool. I would recommend them. They're like pretty freaking rad, actually. I would highly recommend them. I'm not biased at all, but they're pretty cool. Anyway, the Synthesis business, it can be a bit of a curveball because you're not used to trainers kind of healing, other than like gym leaders using a potion when they're in the red. So you might not expect it, and you'd be like, whoa, he healed. I'm gonna keep using Swift. And then nothing will change. Just, you'll lose a little more PP. Anyway, here's the prime character here. It's a Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur, as you probably know, was one of the starters in Red, Blue, Yellow, Green, Fire Red, and Leaf Green. And actually the very first Pokemon in the Pokedex, National Dex. And seeing it here is actually pretty rare. You don't really see trainers with them. Anyway, here's where Metronome starts to kick in. Get a Thunderbolt, which is a great move, not very effective, but got Paralysis. Now, here's the awesome combo right here. No, it's not, that's Egg Bomb, which would have been really cool because Bree is egg-related, but unfortunately missed. Here's the awesome combo. Starting with Lock On, which is very situational. It makes it so that your next attack will absolutely surefire hit. And my next attack happens to be Horn Drill, which normally has 30% accuracy, but is an automatic one-hit KO. So, after locking on, it was definitely gonna hit. That's pretty rad. And that was basically the highlight of the video, so. Anyway, it should be noted that through some sort of mysterious witchcraft, this girl can get you a Leaf Stone in Crystal, so I got her number there. And also in this game, just for the sake of consistency. Now here's something new in HeartGold and Soul Silver, but not in Crystal. Lyra is actually related to the grandparent daycare couple here. It's like a neat thing, I guess. I don't know. It's just a way of forcing you to check out what this building is. Because, you know, it's the one building on a route, you wouldn't be curious what it is. And there's like clever dialogue and things. There is a thing in Crystal that is unique to Crystal rather than any other second generation game or remake. And I don't demonstrate it here because it would affect I would only really want to do it because if it changed my team, and it won't. But in Crystal, you will receive a magical fancy egg from one of the daycare people that will hatch into one of the baby Pokemon introduced in Generation 2. And that baby has a 50% chance of being shiny or alternate colored or whatever you want to call it. So it's worth picking up even if you're just a shiny hunter. But I didn't because I have other things on my mind, and yeah. So that's why you're not seeing it. And most of you probably already knew that because you grew up with Crystal. Anyway, the daycare man and woman will raise Pokemon for you. You stick them in there, and they will gain 1 experience point per step you take. And eventually that can add up. Most of the time in whatever game I'm playing, I'll stick like a Weedle in there, and then come back, and I will have an extremely strong Weedle that should be a Beedrill by then, but isn't, and I've missed all my chances. That's a nice little gauge of seeing how far you've walked and how much experience it's gained. Anyway, last trainer on the route is this camper with a Psyduck. And unfortunately, I don't have an electric or grass move to take care of the water Pokemon. Unless I use Chikorita, but screw that. And anyway, I decided that Klaus was probably the best option here since he resisted Psyduck's special attack, same type attack bonus moves, and could probably just annihilate it with Vice Grip, which was disabled. Hooray! Isn't that wonderful? That's the kind of the gimmick with some of the weaker psychic types, is that they'll use Disable and annoy you, because you can't use your optimal move to take care of them, so you have to use something else. Drowsy, I think, is another Pokemon that loves to do this. Now, I say weaker psychic moves, even though Psyduck isn't actually part psychic, and neither is Golduck. But it'll always be psychic in my heart, because it can use confusion. That's not a very good reason, but it works. Anyway, that takes care, more or less, of Route 34. We'll see a little bit of it in the future. There are a couple more trainers that we can't access right now, and I'll be making a trip back to Ilex Forest in the near future. Oh, and hey, look who it is! It's Mother again. I don't really understand. But anyway, that takes care of Route 34. So, in the next episode, we will explore Goldenrod City, the biggest city in the region. Check out its department store, its underground, and all other cool things associated within. So I will see you guys next time.